Hey, what's good, everybody? Excited to be out here today. I hope you guys are ready. I am excited. We're going to have a beautiful time. We're going to have a beautiful conversation. So, I hope you guys are ready. I hope you're excited. I hope you got all your questions because this is going to be an amazing conversation. So, I hope you're ready. Do me a favor as you join in, as you come in. I want you to share and invite people to join in. I always like to say, you know, my tagline now, let's make wisdom sexy. So, please do me a big favor, share, invite, and tag your friends to be part of this conversation because I know this is going to be amazing. It's going to be life changing. It's going to be transformational. I promise you that. You're going to go into 2025 thinking different about marriage. So I hope you're ready. So do me a favor, invite your friends, tag your friends, let them come in because I'm going to do the same as well. So I'm just going to invite in people uh, just to join in and be part of our conversation. So I'm just doing the same, inviting in people, just sharing with people so that we could have people come in and be part of the conversation. So let's do this. So please do me a favor as you join in, let me know what city, what country you guys are joining in from. Let me know what city, what country, type it out there. I want to see your names, your comments out there, and let me know what country you guys are joining in from. So we're going to have a beautiful conversation. So I hope you are ready. I am ready, 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 ready. So put it out there. So let's do what we need to do. So send in, put out your comments. Let me know what city, where you guys are joining in from. I'm really excited. I want to see you guys out there in joining and be part of our conversation today. So where you guys joining in from? So, if you have any questions, kindly feel free to type them out there so that as we have this conversation, I can really, just have answered those questions that you have. Because I know I got a lot of questions, and that's why I decided to do this broadcast. I decided to do this conversation because I got a number of questions. So, yeah, so let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. I can see some comments out here. Hey, Michi, good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. It's good to see you, Michello. What's happening? Good to see you. Good to see LSK in the house. Good to see LSK in the house. Who else is joining in? I hope you're tagging in your friends and you're sharing and you're bringing in you know, the questions. Let them come in. Alice, what's happening? Nakonde, how's Nakonde doing? Good to see you, Nakonde in the house. I appreciate you guys joining in from Nakonde. Who else is in the house? Who's in the house? What's happening, Astrida? Good to have you from Lusaka, Astrida. I appreciate you guys joining in. Hey, Minister, what's happening? Good to see you. Len, good to have you guys come in and be part of our conversation. So we're gonna go straight into. So if you have any questions, I want you to put it out there. If you have any questions, feel free to bring them up. And what we're talking about today is this interesting topic. Marriage is for the dead, the secrets to a blissful marriage. So, one of the things I realized is that when people saw the title marriage is for dead people, I think some people just went direct to the comment section. Some people went direct to the comment section and just started throwing all the missiles about that. But also it gives you a perspective to understand what most people think about marriage and relationships. And I put up a status this morning. I mean, I am 100% for marriage. You know, I always tell people, even if I went through a million heartbreaks, I believe God for a million and one cent relationships. I'm too mean to quit on love. I'm too mean to give up on love. So there's nothing a person, a human being can ever do that would make me quit on relationships, quit on love. I see most people giving up on love and quitting. Don't quit on love. Just change the people you choose to do relationships with. And I think that's a bigger problem, for most people. When it comes to relationships, you pick the wrong people and complain why relationships don't like you, or why relationships don't really work for you. So well, that conversation was like a 15 minutes conversation about, in fact, we're talking about couple goals, and the marriage is for the dead people came in as part of the conversation that we were having. So that was not even the main topic. We're talking about couple goals. So I will repeat and I'll say it again. Marriage is for the dead. Marriage is for dead people. We are not changing anything from that conversation. And if you want to have blissful relationships, amazing marriages, which we always preach for over 10 years, I preach the same stuff. I always preach, teach healthy relationships. So there are no two ways about it. I will never divert, I will never switch from preaching healthy relationships, because I have a serious dislike for toxic, dysfunctional, relationships and marriages. So I'm not one to encourage you. I don't know how some of you even survive to have marriages that are really toxic and marriages that are not healthy. I just don't get it. Like it really beats me how you would trade your life for a toxic and dysfunctional marriage. But also for some of you, dysfunction has become a new normal. So you are okay to entertain dysfunctional people because you've just it has become your zone. You don't like it, but you're staying. So don't complain if you're staying. Uh, and that's why I say marriage is mutual. If you are getting into a marriage, you must make sure you get to a place where you decide with your partner, with your boo, you are willing to die to have an amazing relationship. For you to have bliss in a marriage, both of you have to decide to die to self. If you're going to decide to have an amazing marriage, you got to decide to die to self. There are no two ways about it. There are no shortcuts. You have to make a personal decision to die to self. You have to make a decision to die to how you were raised, how things were done. I see so many people desiring blissful relationship, but not so many people are willing to die for the bliss to take effect. Look, there's no bliss without a dying. There's no bliss in marriage without a dying to self. You will never have a blissful marriage until you get to a point where you make the decision to die. You will never enjoy bliss until you make a decision to die. And I don't know. Like one thing I tell people is I can never do a toxic and dysfunctional marriage, not even at a gun, not even at gunpoint. And that's why I get very shocked why most people are not willing to pay the price to have an amazing marriage. I don't get it. I don't understand why people are not willing. So every marriage you see out there that is thriving, every marriage you see out there having, experiencing. Because I must be very, straight to tell you that most marriages are practically just barely making it. Huge, part of the biggest statistics when it comes to marriage, most people are just existing. Most people are just existing in the marriage. They're not experiencing, a beautiful marriage. So they're just in that space where it's each day that comes. And that's why I hate dysfunctional, I hate average marriages with a passion because marriage was never designed to be average. Marriage was designed to be blissful and to be amazing. And I know the most ridiculous question I always get, coach, coach, there's no perfect marriages, they're not perfect people. I get it, they're not perfect people. But unfortunately, what you call imperfect for most of you, they are red flags and dysfunction. And it's because you're so broken, you were trying to find reasons to justify to stay in a dysfunctional marriage or dysfunctional relationship. Most of the time when you find people that justify, oh, no one is perfect, no marriage is perfect, they're trying to justify their trauma, and their codependency to stay with the abuser. So some of you, you are not innocent. You are the ones that are justifying why you're staying in an abusive situation because you're always saying there's no perfect marriage, there's no perfect relationship. Some of you, you are not a victim, you are a volunteer to the toxicity, to the average marriage you're experiencing or the relationship you are in. Because you're too you are too needy. You need somebody to need you if they're not giving you the best experience of what a marriage was designed to be. You're too needy. You are too broken. You don't know how to stay by yourself. You are too broken. You don't know how to raise a standard for somebody to love you at the summit level. You're too broken. That's why you always make all these average statements. There's no perfect marriage. There's no perfect person. I get it. But what most of you are talking about is toxicity. You are indirectly justifying why the abuser should keep abusing you, why the person that is giving you an average marriage experience should keep giving you that. Because you're so broken. You need somebody to need you for you to feel whole, for you to feel complete. You need somebody to need you, even if they are your abuser. And those are the statistics for most marriages, including most of your relationship coaches, including most of your pastors, including Wanachimbusa, your elders you call. Most of them have had 30 years, 40 years of toxic marriages, and they're passing on the toxicity to you. That's why there's a war for healthy marriages. It's a serious battle. It's a serious battle. And that's why before you say I do to a person, you have to ask them, dude, are you willing to die? Listen, chick, are you willing to die to yourself for us not to repeat the cycle of our parents, for us not to repeat our family cycles, so we could have a blissful marriage? Both of us need to die to a new way of doing marriage, to a new way of doing relationships. Is this making sense? Is this making sense, guys? If it's making sense, just say, I hear you, coach. And in fact, you first have to die to yourself before you even find your partner. You have to die to yourself. But here's one thing, a bigger mistake, most of you. I've seen good people complain to me and tell me, hey, coach, I'm an amazing person, I'm a great person, but how come I keep finding the wrong people? Is you don't vet people. You give your quality you to average people and you cry foul. No, stop choosing people that don't meet you at your level. Stop marrying and dating people that are not your equal. Marriage is so critical. I don't even understand why our generation plays games with marriage. I coach people. I have never seen something that wrecks people in the most unbelievable way than marriage. I have never seen something that destroys and messes up people. I've seen people that went through a bad marriage and they never healed until tomorrow. Exactly. Minister Len, that's true. So you have to get to a place where you make the decision. Now, let me answer a question that I saw. I saw so many comments about people jumping on the conversation that we put up. I saw so many comments from people coming in and saying, "Hey, you know, dying is not biblical. There's nothing in the Bible." I saw so many misinformed Christians making comments. By the way, let me. I always tell people. I always say this to women especially. Never marry a man that is not willing to die for you. Type it out, women. Ladies, type it out. Never marry a man who's not willing to die for you. Type it out, ladies. Never marry a man that is not willing to die for you. Gentlemen, just right there, I will never marry a woman I'm not willing to die for. In fact, the dying is a more of a prerequisite for a husband than the wife. And that doesn't mean the wife must not die. But the one God demands that must die the most is the man. So, ladies, type it out. I've given you an instructions. I know some of you don't believe it, but just type it by faith. So that's what God expects. You must be loved at that level. That's what God expects. I've been saying the same statement for years to women, and I see women sometimes they laugh because they don't even believe it. Some of you don't even believe the best about what you desire and what your marriage must look like. Some of you don't even have faith. A man that is not willing to die for you is not ready for you. Let me prove it to you. I saw some shallow Christians make comments. They didn't even read the Bible. They didn't even quote the Bible. Come on, Ephesians chapter 5:22. It says, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ has loved the church and gave himself up for her to make her whole cleansing." It means he laid down his life for his wife. And it says, in the same way, husbands must love their wives as Christ loved the church, that he died for his bride. I saw people argue, like, how are you even a Christian? You don't even read your Bible. This principle I put across is biblical, it's in the Bible. Go look for it in Ephesians chapter 5. That's a standard God has set for a man. A man must lay down his life for his wife. Stop marrying men that are not willing to die for you. It's biblical. So everyone that was arguing, over 800 comments, some of them, not all of them, were arguing. Where is it's not possible. This is not the right thing. No, you must die to stay married. And the one God demands that must die the most is a husband. You must lay down your life for a wife. You know why a lot of you fight and argue the principle of dying to stay married is because you married people that are not worth dying for. It's not our fault. You just picked the wrong ones. You picked the wrong bull. That's why dying feels like dying. It's not our fault. It's your fault because you picked the wrong person. It's not our fault you picked wrong. That's why some of you dying and laying down your life for your partner is hard because you picked a partner you feel is not worthy of you laying down their lives, your life for them. Oh, Coach Daddy, where is this written? This is not biblical. I've just given you the Bible. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church, that he laid down his life for his bride. So you gotta make the decision. So before you marry anybody, you have to assess them. Is this the person I'm willing to lay down my life for? That's why marriage is not a baby's decision. Stay away from marriage if you're still a baby. And by the way, you can be 50 and still be a baby. So marriage will test you. Marriage will test your ability to sustain that amazing institution. I see so many kids getting married today, no brain, no sense of why they're getting married. That's why I always tell people, I see so many people. A lot of people are single today. Guess why? Because you're not willing to die. There's some of you, you've lost good partners because of your pride and your ego. You're not willing to die. I see so many women, oh, I can't do that. Never. I can't do that. I can't do that for a man. Well, you're going to die single. And let me say my principle again. I always say this. If you must grow old single, there are two ways people grow old single: out of principle or out of stupidity. Some people will grow old single out of principle. Most people will grow old single out of stupidity because you're not willing to die to your childish ways so you can keep a marriage, so you can keep a husband. Now, if you misunderstand what I'm trying to say, it's your fault. Keeping a husband is not letting a husband make you a doormat. No, there has to be certain ways you have to be willing to die. Sarah called Abraham my Lord. She was willing to die to her ego. She was willing to die to her pride. She called a man my Lord. She called him my king. Some of you say, oh, coach, some of these men are not worth it. No, the man you picked, the man you picked, instead of picking a king, you picked a joker and you're out here bleeding on us. Come on, girl, just go heal. You picked a joker instead of picking a king and you're out here bleeding on us. Listen, take accountability for your choices. If the man you married doesn't look and represent the king, it's not our fault. It's your fault. You picked a man who wants to be a clown. Is this too hard? I'm noticing a lot of you are going quiet now. Are you going quiet? Are you there? Is is this really hitting hard? A lot of you are running away. Are you safe? Are you safe? So the principle of marrying someone you're willing to lay down is easy when you marry a man or you marry a woman that is worth it. Some of you dudes are just marrying cute things. All she is cute. She ain't got no brain. And now you have to die to a brainless cute chick because she was fine, she was looking good, she was killing it in the bedroom, and you said you did your forevers. You made a decision. A lot of you women, I see so many women missing out good men because you're not willing to die. Some of you are missing out good marriages because you want to hang out with your girlfriends. The man in your life said, well, I don't want my wife to be out here in these streets and hanging out anyhow. But she said, no, no man can stop me what to do. This is my life. I want to be living large. So you're out there in the streets when you should be out there doing purpose with your king and your husband, but you want to be in the streets because you're not willing to die to yourself. You're not willing to die to the pleasures of this world so you could build. And by the way, when I'm talking about marriage, I'm not talking about average men. I'm talking about a real king. I'm talking about a man that loves you, a man that wants to do purpose with you, a man that is willing to do destiny with you, a man that is willing to help you level up. Some of you are divorcees not because you're supposed to be divorcees, but because you were not willing to die in the marriage. So you lost the marriage because you're not willing to die. I got a good job. I've got a master's degree. I got a PhD. I'm a fine girl. I'm gonna walk out in those streets, and any man is and another man is gonna marry you. And you've been in those streets. Nobody has married you. You were not willing to die to save your marriage. And by the way, when I talk about dying to save your marriage, it's within the context of a healthy marriage, not a toxic marriage, not a dysfunctional marriage. It's in the context of a healthy marriage. Some of you have walked away from good marriages because your pride was speaking to you, because you started making little change. You started making little change. I call it little change because some of you, the money you make, the degrees you have, the cars you're driving, the houses that you're building are practically little change. And little change has made you grow big-headed, that you are losing something you should be dying for, something that is assigned to your purpose. You are losing it because of little change. In fact, some of you, your looks are also little change. So you are losing something powerful. You're not willing to die so you could build with somebody. Some of you men are not willing to die to your flesh. Some of you men are not willing to die to your flesh. So you're chasing every skirt that is out in the streets. And you're not willing to die to your selfish desires. You're not willing to words so you could keep a home, so you could keep a family, so you could sustain a marriage. You're not willing to die so you could have a blissful experience. Because every sketch you see out there, every woman you see out there, you always want to have something with them. You've been blessed with an amazing woman. You've been blessed with a woman that has been assigned to your life to help you. But all that is not enough. All that is not enough. You're not making the decisions that you're supposed to be making. So you have to make a decision. So there's so many young people out in the streets carrying divorce certificates when they're supposed to be in their homes, in their marriages. But because people were not willing to die. And remember, dying must be, it's a mutual experience. Because if you are willing to die and your partner is not willing to die, there's nothing much you could do to save a marriage. You could try your level best, but it's difficult to save a marriage. A marriage that goes into a space of bliss, of a healthy experience, is two people willing to go to the slaughter. It's two people that are willing to go and lay down their pride, their egos on the altar so they could experience bliss in their marriage. It's two people that are willing to make the decision. I'm willing to die so I can build. Now, this is why it's a blessing when you're single, because you can make the right decision. You can put the person you're choosing to marry to the test to see if they're willing to die. When you're married, it's difficult. It's not impossible, but it's difficult. Because the problem I've seen for most married people, your standards are so low. because you don't know what people will say if you walk away from the marriage. So you have brought yourself solo to stay married. You have brought yourself solo to stay married. You are so desperate for marriage, you're willing to trade your happiness, your mental health, just to be called somebody's wife, to be called somebody's husband. Yes, Machuda, it is. So you have to make the decision. This is why when you're marrying someone, like like you can never take the decision for marriage lightly. This marriage is your whole life. You can make a mistake with a degree and recover. Not so many people make a marriage mistake and recover. So if marriage is that critical and crucial to our lives, how much more work should you put in? How much should you put in to make sure you're picking your purpose partner? And before people misquote and misunderstand what I'm trying to say, they're not perfect marriages, but they are healthy marriages. A marriage doesn't have to be perfect to be healthy. So if the decision of who you spend your life with is that key, is that critical, how much more should you make that decision? You can lose a house and get it. You can lose a car. You can lose a profession and get it. But when it comes to marriage, there's so many people that never recover after divorces. There's so many people that don't recover after divorces. So you have to make the decision to say, I am willing to die. I don't know how many times I beg people in my counseling session. I'm speaking from experience. A man with an experience is not at the mercy of a man with an argument. I don't know how many times I have to beg people in my coaching sessions, please don't lose this marriage. I don't know how many times I have to beg people, please give this marriage a chance. I don't know how many times. And people are so lost in their ego, they're not willing to die to their ego and to their selfish desires. So some of you are still upset with God. You've not sent me my partner. God is saying, I sent you your partner, but you mishandled them. I sent you your husband. I sent you your king, but you mishandled your king. And for some of you, guess what? God is saying, I'm willing to send you your husband, but your ego and your pride is too big. Your husband and your wife can't live in the same place. Some of you are in a space where God has said, I sent you your husband, but you didn't receive them. I'm willing to send you your partner. I'm willing to send you your king. I'm willing to send you your wife, but your ego is too big. So your ego and your wife can't live in the same space. Your ego and your husband can't live in the same place. Especially in the feminist movements that are out there, everybody keeps saying, well, I can't submit to a man. A man can't tell me what to do. Well, you reap a harvest of who you let influence you. Because I always tell people when marriage is done correctly, your job, your career, your money cannot give you what a good marriage can give you. A good marriage will give you a far better life than what your career, what your job can give you. I see so many educated people with big careers out there in the streets paying men to sleep with them because you're not willing to build a healthy marriage somewhere in a healthy space. So you're out in the street sleeping with everybody because of your ego and because of your pride. So you want a good marriage? You want God to work on the marriage you have? Both of you have to be willing to die. You want God to send you the right partner, the right king, the right queen? You gotta die to yourself. This is why I'm never impressed, because I see so many people these days. People lead with their money. These days people lead with their money, their degrees, their education, how much their jobs. That's what they lead with in the dating and the marriage space. Oh, I have 5 degrees. Oh, I earn this amount of dollars. You gotta die, please. You gotta die. You gotta die to yourself. You gotta make the decision to die. I saw people right there in the comment, oh, marriage is outdated. Marriage is an old fashioned principle. You've put yourself above God, the one that designed marriage. And now your brain is more intelligent than the one that created your brain, right? So you're more intelligent with the one that created your brain. Just because you went out there and made some stupid relationship decision doesn't make marriage bad. Marriage will always be an amazing institution. Let's get that clear. It will always be an amazing institution. The problem is you pick the wrong people, and the problem is you're not the right person. That's why you're bitter with marriage. That's why you're bitter with relationships. That's why you're bitter, because you make the wrong decisions. If you must grow, I'll repeat this. If you must grow old single, let it be out of principle, don't let it be out of stupidity. Because it will haunt you. It will haunt you terribly. And that's why I said when I was doing my TV show the other day, I said the harvest we're going to reap in the next 15 years of divorces will be unbelievable, because man has become too intelligent than the one that created them, than the one that created marriage. So we think we're smart enough to go around the principle of dying. Like there must be another shortcut so that you could short circuit yourself and your marriage and your purpose, because you're trying to outsmart the one that designed the product. When you go out there and buy, a Samsung, they don't give you an Apple manual. They don't give you an Apple manual. You bought a Samsung product. I have one of the books. I have it. It's called "How to Talk to Your Husband So He Will Listen," and how to listen so your husband will talk. There's gotta be decisions that you're gonna make for you to stay in happy marriages and build healthy relationships. There's gotta be principles, there's gotta be values, there's gotta be principles that you gotta build on. So as I conclude, please type out your questions. If you have your questions, I'm gonna answer your question. So marriage is for dead people. You have to be willing to die to yourself. Your partner is going to be willing to die. Never marry someone who's not willing to die. If someone is caught up in their ways of doing things, let them be. Don't force, don't convince people. By the way, don't convince anybody to die. Dying is a personal decision. If someone is not willing to die so you could build a blissful marriages, a marriage that is bliss, let them go. Stop trying to convince people. A lot of you try so hard to convince people to die for your marriage and to go an extra mile to lay down their lives for you. It's not worth it. That's why I don't believe in this thing of, oh, you must chase a woman, you must chase a woman. No, you don't need to chase nobody. You don't need to chase. If somebody knows they are assigned to your purpose, they will come. They will bring themselves and they'll be willing to die. If a man loves you enough, he's going to come. He's going to lay down his life for you. He will say, how can I save you for the rest of our lives? How can I treat you like the queen you were designed to be? It's a personal decision. You don't have to teach and force a man to level up and be the man he doesn't want to be. A man that knows the value of his woman, a man that knows the value of his queen, is willing to lay down his life. You don't have to be out there in the streets fighting with all his concubines and all his chicks. No, you don't have to be there. A man that loves you will die to himself so that when you are moving, you can walk like the queen you were designed to be. A lot of you guys, like, these women are doing the most for you to be dead husbands. These women are going through headaches, mental health issues because you're not willing to die. You gotta make a decision to die to be the husband. You gotta make a decision. If your wife or your partner picked up your phone, they don't have to end up in an emergency room somewhere else because of what they found on your phone. You gotta die. How are you gonna flirt with the whole world? How are you gonna be a man that is flirting with the whole world? You gotta die to your desires. You gotta die to self. You gotta make a decision to die. And you see a partner that is willing to die for you by how they treat you consistently, not just sometimes, consistently. They are willing to die. If you love flowers, they don't love flowers. They don't like to pass in, go to the mall and buy flowers. They will buy you flowers. If adventure is what you love to do, they are willing to go an extra mile to do the adventure with you because that's what really makes you happy. Even if it's not what they would normally do. Look, if you go out for a vacation, you won't die. Just take your partner out. That's their love language. That's what they enjoy to do. You can't say I wasn't raised like that. Well, you're not staying with your mama or your papa. Go do something. You're staying with your wife now, or you're staying with your husband now. Oh, I didn't. We never used to do that from my family. Please, you're not staying with your family. You are a married person. I saw somebody says now most women are posting this line, but they willing to die? That's a good question. We've spoken. Lastly, let me speak to the women. You gotta be willing to die. You are too opinionated. You gotta be willing to die. You gotta be willing. When you decide to get married, you gotta know that the man you're marrying is a final authority in the home. There's a structure. So if you don't want to follow the structure, Christ is the head of man and man is the head of a woman, don't get married. It's okay. Stay in the streets, boo. Don't stay there. Accountability. One of the bigger things that women don't have is accountability. You're not willing to die to your pride. That's why I don't believe in the principle of happy wife, happy life. I believe in happy wife, happy husband, happy marriage. Most women have got opinions even on things they don't even know, the things they don't understand. You argue too much. You argue even on things you don't understand. Oh, coach, how can I follow a man who doesn't know where he's going? Why did you marry a man who doesn't know where he's going? Listen, you're not a victim, boo. Listen, you are not a victim. Oh, how am I going to respect him as a head of a family? He doesn't know how to manage his money. He doesn't want to take a job. How did you marry a man who doesn't manage his money? How did you marry a man who can't keep a job? Come on, make it make sense. Make like really make it make sense. So when you marry a man, you gotta say, I am willing to submission under his mission. You die to your dreams in a sense and submit to his mission. That's why never marry men with no mission and vision and come and make noise for us on social media. Oh, this man, oh, this. No, listen, it's you, it's the men that you choose. You gotta make decisions that are correct. And all these things will make sense when you heal enough. I was thinking today, the beauty of healing. That's why I love to teach about healing. When you heal, have you ever healed so well and you look at the people you were dating in your past and I says, what was wrong with me? Like you can see the gap, the growth, the difference, the changes that have happened. The changes that have happened. You will never pick right until you heal. Every person you pick in with your unhealed version will always be a burden to you. Any questions, guys, before I go? Any questions? Any questions before I go? Let me take some questions. Any questions? Let me take some questions. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? What are the age factors that kill a marriage? I don't know what age you're talking about. I always like to say that maturity does not come with age. Sometimes age comes along. So someone can be 40, can be 50, but still acting and playing with their toys like a 10-year-old. So age does not guarantee you will have a successful marriage, because some people, the age just came along without the wisdom. So when you marry someone strictly just based on age, you practically are making the biggest mistake because you're just basing it on age. I've met 25-year-olds that are more mature and ready for marriage than 40-year-olds. So I wish I could give you a specific age to say this will guarantee a marriage. I think and the Bible talks about through wisdom is a house built. So what builds a marriage and a home is wisdom. It's not age. So you could marry someone older, but they will not have sense. So it's practically uh, understanding those principles so that you don't make the wrong decisions when you are picking a partner. All right, guys, it was great. So I hope we've answered some questions, and thank you so much for tuning in and staying out with me today. You have an amazing, 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 amazing day, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.